Good morning, welcome to the Daily News Podcast. Today is April 21st, 2026.
The biggest story this morning is escalating tension in the Strait of Hormuz. President Trump says the U.S. will maintain its naval blockade there until Iran agrees to a deal. He also confirmed that U.S. forces intercepted and seized an Iranian vessel entering the Gulf, calling it part of a broader pressure campaign. The Strait of Hormuz handles roughly a fifth of the world's oil shipments, so any disruption immediately rattles global markets. We're already seeing that impact. Oil prices jumped after news of the seizure, and Kuwait has declared force majeure on some shipments as traders brace for prolonged instability. The standoff comes as there's still uncertainty about whether Tehran will participate in upcoming peace talks in Pakistan. Bottom line, this is one of the world's most critical energy choke points, and it's now at the center of a very public showdown.
And every time Hormuz is in the headlines, markets get nervous fast. Energy is the bloodstream of the global economy, so even a hint of prolonged disruption sends shockwaves. On the tech side, we've got a seismic shift at Apple. Tim Cook is stepping down as CEO, with longtime hardware chief John Ternus set to take over on September 1st. Cook will move into an executive chairman role, so he's not disappearing, but this marks the end of an era. Under Cook, Apple became a services powerhouse and the first multi-trillion-dollar company. Now Ternus inherits a very different landscape, with mounting pressure around AI integration, slowing iPhone growth, and tougher global regulation. Investors are watching closely to see how aggressive Apple will be in defining its AI strategy. This leadership transition could shape everything from product roadmaps to how Apple competes with Microsoft and Google in the AI race.
That's a huge moment for Silicon Valley. Cook was steady and disciplined. Ternus is seen as more product-focused. The big question is whether Apple finally makes a bold AI move. Speaking of AI infrastructure, Amazon is doubling down in a big way. The company is investing another $5 billion into Anthropic, the AI startup behind the Claude models. In return, Anthropic has committed to spending a staggering $100 billion on AWS cloud services over time. That tells you how expensive this AI arms race has become. Training and running large models requires massive computing power, and cloud providers are racing to lock in the biggest labs. This deal deepens the strategic partnership between Amazon and Anthropic and reinforces AWS as a backbone for next-generation AI systems. It also intensifies competition with Microsoft and Google, who are backing their own AI champions.
$100 billion in cloud spending is mind-blowing. AI isn't just a software story anymore, it's a full-blown infrastructure war. Meanwhile in Europe, Bulgaria's political landscape just shifted dramatically. Former President Rumen Radev's party has won an absolute majority in parliamentary elections. That could finally end years of fragile coalition governments in Sofia, but it's also raising eyebrows in Brussels. Radev is seen as more Moscow-friendly than many EU leaders would like, and this result could reshape Bulgaria's stance toward both the European Union and Russia. At a time when Europe is trying to maintain a united front on security and energy policy, this election outcome could introduce new friction inside the bloc.
The EU has had enough internal fractures lately. Any pivot by a member state toward Moscow is going to be watched very closely. And here at home, Maryland has become the first U.S. state to ban what's known as surveillance pricing. That's the practice where companies use your personal data to adjust prices specifically for you. Lawmakers say it's about protecting consumers from algorithmic price discrimination. The new law could set a precedent for other states to regulate how companies use data to personalize pricing. Tech and retail firms are likely to push back, arguing that dynamic pricing is standard business practice. But politically, this taps into growing public discomfort about how much data companies collect and how they use it.
That's one of those issues people feel every day without always realizing it. If other states follow Maryland, it could seriously reshape online commerce. And to wrap up on a lighter note, Ryan Reynolds says Deadpool is shifting into more of a supporting character in future Marvel Cinematic Universe projects. After the success of Deadpool and Wolverine, Reynolds says he's writing new material but wants to reposition the character within a broader ensemble. It's a notable creative pivot for one of Marvel's biggest antiheroes and could signal a more integrated, less standalone future for the franchise.
Deadpool is part of the team instead of crashing the party. That'll be interesting to see.
That's it for today's Daily News Podcast.
Thanks for listening. We'll be back tomorrow with the stories shaping your world.
Have a great day.